The following is a 24 Hours podcast.
Let's let the debate begin, and we'll start with Monty Paulson with the first question.
Gentlemen, as I waited for the bus yesterday morning, 3 buses passed me by, 2 full to pick me up. The 4th one picked me up and took me to SkyTrain station, where 2 trains passed by before there was one I could squeeze onto. The situation is little better on our streets. We're gridlocked every afternoon, and not just in the downtown core, but throughout the arterials all across the city. Given that Premier Campbell and Transportation Minister Falcon seem determined to squeeze more cars and trucks into this city, given that they've taken away your ability in Vancouver to provide oversight on TransLink, what precisely are you going to do to get me a seat on the bus?
And we'll start with Gregor on this and work left to right.
Thank you. It's a real predicament we're in here. First of all, thank you all for being here. What an impressive site this is. And it feels great to be up here and kicking things off. We have a really, really difficult challenge in that the provincial government controls TransLink and have actually now introduced legislation to control TransLink directly, appointing the board, all kinds of shenanigans going on with closed meetings. Not even the media can and staff have any access to those meetings at this point. So Vancouver's in a tough bind in terms of having good influence on the decisions that TransLink makes. That said, the job of the mayor is all about leadership and driving action with TransLink and with the provincial government. There are commitments on the table for about $14 billion of investment in transportation infrastructure for British Columbia. Vancouver needs a significant proportion of that. Unfortunately, at this point, it's spread over almost a dozen years, and some of those priorities need to be moved up. Vancouver needs better infrastructure in terms of rapid transit. We need the Broadway line built. We need it built right, not the way that the RAV line was built. We need it built sooner than 12 years. We need a massive investment in buses in Vancouver. The bus service is inadequate at this point, and the demands are only increasing. Really, it's up to City Hall to champion this cause, and it's up to the mayor to show that leadership and work both collaboratively but also effectively with a little bit of a friction involved to make sure that we get the needs that we demand to serve the people in Vancouver. If you look at the future of transportation in Vancouver, we're going to be phasing out of cars. Let's face it, the future of transportation in Vancouver is not single occupancy vehicles. Therefore, the sooner that we aggressively make these transitions for better transit, for cycling, for walking, the better. The better for our health, the better for our city. And that's what I'll be fighting for as mayor.
Thank you. All right. If you just clap and cheer all night, we'll never get out of here. But I admit, this is a lot of fun. Okay, Raymond Louis, your turn.
Well, Monty, you're exactly right. The investment that has been made in transportation has been less than substantial over a number of years. Last term, when I was on TransLink, we made a $4 billion investment in transportation in our region, and most of that went towards buses, and we advanced the purchase of buses in order to give you that seat on the bus. More recently, this change in governance structure by the provincial government to change it away from a municipally controlled structure to a provincially controlled structure is absolutely appalling. And that's why I spoke out very loudly and clearly in council and directly to Minister Falcon on the Bill Good show. He didn't enjoy it very much when I phoned in and challenged him on it, but it was important, I think, for our citizens to hear the truth, which is not what's coming out of Minister Falcon's mouth. He's talking about how he is making a massive investment, but he doesn't tell us where that investment's going in any specificity. Mostly it's going into road infrastructure, as you were saying. So what we need to do is speak loudly, like I did just 2 weeks ago in council, asking that our mayor write a letter to the provincial government talking about how VCC and Langara needs to have a U-Pass. And unfortunately, the mayor and his MPA councillors ruled it out of order and received different information and took no action. This is an ongoing pattern that cannot continue in our city. If we are to have proper infrastructure for transit, we need to have a solid voice that speaks out loudly and clearly about what we need. Vancouver pays already a disproportionate share of our taxes towards the transit levy because it's based on assessed value. And if we're not getting our fair share, which we're not, then we should be seeking up a lot louder than we currently are. Of course, we need more infrastructure in pedestrians and cycling, and that's what I'll be working for as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, Monty, it's a good question, and I have to say that I feel bad that you didn't have a chance to be on the bus, but I think in Vancouver, it's time that we get out of our cars, and it's going to be some time before we're able to really get our bus system to be working the way we would like to see. So I'm very much about the bike and about living in your neighborhood, living above, shopping below, and biking to work. So I think it's very important that, yes, we got to get our ground transit working better, and our buses definitely. I find many of our seniors right now throughout all 23 neighborhoods throughout this city are finding it difficult to get around, even by bus itself. And I have to say that more and more, we have to try to make things more accessible so you actually live in your neighborhood, shop in your neighborhood, and be able to recreate in your neighborhood. So yes, the transportation, it's been well said here tonight, but I have to say that we need to learn to be able to live and shop and recreate in our neighborhood. So really, bicycling, trying to get more ground transit within our area is really where I see it.
Thank you. Does anybody want to spend one of their minutes? Or does anybody want to rebut, or should we go on to the next question? No? Okay.
Vancouver.24hours.ca